Carlos Perez survived stage 4 cancer, and he realized that most high performers are silently stuck in survival mode even long after the crisis ends. And Mr. Carlos Perez, whose website is carlosperezspeaks.com, he rebuilt his life from zero, and now he teaches professionals how to regain clarity, identity, and execution under pressure. We're here on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Robert Plank to talk all about it. We're brought to you by dfypodcast.com, where we handle that podcast backend so you can focus on the interview and your own personal and business growth. And the growth that we're speaking about today is how to rebuild your life. We're here with the architect of rebuild. As we said, he's a cancer survivor, but whether you're going through health issues, aging, cancer, or just like your own personal crisis, he's here with some powerful messages, especially for high achievers to maybe make better sense and make better decisions and take some amazing actions moving forward. So, Mr. Carlos Perez, glad to see you. How are you?
Doing great. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm fabulous now that I'm speaking to you, right? I'm more of an introverted person, but sometimes I think I'm kind of a little bit of both. And sometimes just talking to someone really jazzes me up. So I'm glad that you and I get to start our day talking with each other. And so I gave a little bit of a brief introduction about you, but what do you think I left out? What are you all about that we should all hear about?
Well, I'm more of a guy that through life experience, man, we all dealt low blows in life. This is, you got everything planned and then the drunken monkey comes in and takes over. And we allowed those things to control us. But I learned, like the first time I had a transplant, 30 days in the hospital, you're by yourself, you're thinking, wow, what is more to life? What life has to offer? Then, we've been always trained that you got to go get the job, go to work. And we just focus on little things, but we don't realize that we have to focus in our own life and our internal things that we need as a person. What fulfills us the most? And after spending the first time 30 days in the hospital, I said, I'm coming out of here a new person. I'm going to do the things I want to do in life. And then the things that I was always afraid to do. I was always afraid to speak in front of people. I went to Toastmaster courses and I started speaking to people. And people love to be talked to. They don't want to be taught or teach. They just want to have a normal conversation where they feel comfortable with one another. And they open up to you. You feel comfortable. It's like you get each other's energy and vibe, and you feel that you're connecting with someone. So that's the work I'm actually doing now. I'm not just out here to tell you, you got to use this course or this. No, I'm here to connect with you to see if that really works and resonates with you in life.
That's a very wise insight, how important connection is. And when I went into Toastmasters, I had a similar switch. I think before Toastmasters, I was very much about the step-by-step, the how-to, the teaching. And I was like, well, if someone isn't giving me an 8 or an 18-point step-by-step list, then it's a waste of time. And when I would communicate with someone else, I had a similar problem, right? Instead of just saying something, I'd say, no, you should do this and start here and end there. And that can be exhausting if that's all you do. And through Toastmasters and the various kooky characters and the speeches they give, and you fall in love with the stories and the slowness, it can be more interesting and more relaxing, right? Just to say, well, hey, we don't need to solve all of our problems instantly. We don't need the 18-point checklist. Let's just have this connection and not work so hard. And maybe the end result can come after a little while after the subconscious does its work. And that led to all this podcasting, right? You and I just kind of chat and we have a 2-person dance and who knows where it ends up. And so as far as you said, you had this cancer scare, transplant, 30 days in the hospital, you had this time to think. And what did that lead to? What slowly changed in your life?
Well, the first thing is, like most of us, I think all of us have this idea in the back burner that someday I'm going to do this. Someday I'm going to get up and write a book. Someday I'm going to go speak publicly. I'm going to do, change something. And we always feel like we have the chains locked us in our ankles, holding us back. So the first thing I did when I started writing my book, actually, I says, I'm going to just write the book, join Toastmasters. I started doing more things that I got out of the comfort zone. You have to get out of that, the little box that we always in all the time. So I was able to write the book. I'm not a perfect writer, but I did it. I mean, just one little page or one sentence every day that you do gets you closer to your goals that you want to do in life. The same thing with public speaking. Went out there, just said, you know what? What is the worst that can happen? I mean, I know I bomb, but guess what? People don't know you're bombing because you don't know your speech. So who knows? You just say it. People may love it. And I found that the at times when I thought I was doing the worst public speaking, people would go, "Oh man, I really loved it." You just never know who you're touching. And by
Mm.
trying to be perfect all the time, we never reach the people that you don't know what life changing you're doing for them at that moment. Just when you think you're doing your worst, they are like, "Oh man, that really touched me." And I'm thinking to myself, boy, I thought I did so bad. But you never know who you're connecting. You just never have that touch. And that's what I tell everyone, even patients, if I see patients in physical therapy, just go out there and speak to people. Just be yourself. Connect, because you don't know who or you are helping that day. And this is how I live my life now. I just want to be not a positive person because, well, positive is important, but I don't want to be this motivational positive guy, rah, rah, rah guy. I just want to talk to you like a human being. Let's connect, just have a normal conversation. And you just never know who you are touching and how good they feel about themselves after that conversation with you.
Very good. I'm getting some amazing insights here and some patterns, right? We mentioned it a little bit how they say everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So if there's something that you're afraid of, such as public speaking, you're saying that that is something that we should pursue. And I feel like you're secretly reading my journal entries a little bit, Mr. Carlos, because I've had these similar thoughts about abandoning the idea of the perfect conversation, right? I used to have conversations with someone and then hours, days later, replay it in my head and say, oh no, I should have said this. I shouldn't have said that. But then the big joke about all of that is that it's not about you. And that thing that you said, maybe you didn't think it had value, but the other person did. And when you do something like Toastmasters or you get the feedback of any kind and you see what really lights people up, it's surprising, isn't it? That like it's unexpected. There's what you think is great and what other think is great, and they don't always match up. And then that thing that you wish you had said, well, maybe it wouldn't have fit, or you would have gone over time in your speech or your conversation, and maybe that would have killed the magic that someone else really likes. So it's something to let go of, isn't it? And you say instead, help people, make them feel better, and be supportive. And so you mentioned this book. So are we talking about Cancer and Me, A Journey of Survival and Triumph?
Yes, that's my first book. That's basically, you could call it like a memoir or my life story, how I went from thinking, hey, just blowing it off. I don't have cancer. Cancer was never in my family. For me, it's just thinking like, this is the last thing I got to worry about. And I had a bump in the back of my head and it just grew to a golf size. And I'm thinking, but I'm fine. I work out every day. I eat correctly. No one in my family had cancer. So, but I let it go. Again, when you're in the healthcare field, you think you know too much more too, actually. You think, oh, it's just something minor, no big deal. But those bumps went from one bump to second bumps to not feeling correctly. And I was like, wow, this is really messed up here. So it took me about 6 months to go to the doctor, actually, when I first had the first bump. So my book basically just goes through the detail how I was able to go from putting it off to, you shouldn't put it off actually, but to how I'm doing now today in my life, how, what I have accomplished. And this is the thing I always tell people, you can accomplish so much more in such a shorter time if you allow yourself to go out there and do what you should be doing. doing and
Mm.
not be afraid to do it. So yeah, my book is led me to feel what I felt for those 30 days in the hospital, to where I'm at, and be thankful to the doctors that were there for me, because without them, I wouldn't be here too. I mean, so it was like a thank you, acknowledging them. Hey, your knowledge got me through this.
Very good. That's a wonderful message, and I don't fully understand it because I haven't had cancer, but it is something I think we all think about maybe getting cancer at some point, right? You hope that you live long enough to get cancer. If you end up being 90 years old, 100 years old, you'll probably at least develop like some skin or something, right? If you don't die of a heart attack, or just if you're fortunate enough to live long enough, you might get something. And sometimes it's on my mind. And so when I come across people that have the kind of cancer message, the little bit of patterns I pick up, or sometimes there's the gratitude, like you've mentioned, where it's easy to say, well, why did this happen to me? But it's good that you found it and that you beat it, and that we have the current modern science. But then you hear about how men, especially, there's a little bit of the steps you mentioned, how they ignore it. Then when they finally go in to get it checked out, they drag their feet. And sometimes with the treatment, they hesitate there as well. And it's important to be educated, which you're doing here. And then I also hear sometimes about the parallels, right? So there's like cancer for many, it's like the toughest challenge they've ever had. But sometimes people have illness, career setbacks, life challenges. And I know that you have a few hot takes here. So what do you think people perhaps get wrong when dealing with all these adversities of many kinds?
Well, first off, we have two choices. This is what I tell people. You can either drown in your problems, or take a step back, take a deep breath, and try to break them down one by one. You're going through a divorce, or you lost your job, or many things that you expected to be at in your life. But why is that? Why things happen? We should really look into what caused it first, and then we try to fix it. But sometimes the answer that we're looking for is not the one that we really thinking it should be. So, some adversity opens the door to see how strong and powerful we can be in reality. We have it in us. We just been trained through our life now. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, and not give yourself a chance to think outside the box. And if we give ourselves with that, and again, it boils down to what I was saying before. We never do the things, the dreams that we want to do, because we're afraid to come out of the box that we've been grown into, the chains that are keeping us shackles down. And with cancer, yeah, as most people like me, you put it off because you don't think you're going to have it. And most men do that because it's an egotistic thing, like, oh, they're afraid to find out the truth. We're afraid of that. But there's so many different things out there in your life that can hold you down. The divorce, the loss of work, your company not making the kind of money. And then it's sitting back and thinking, what do I need to get through? I need to identify the issue, build a strategy, and execute from there. What are you going to do next in your life? And we all have that. We don't need to be worrying, oh, I need the right time. When I need when the time change, or when the kids go to school. No, the time is today, not tomorrow, not the next day. So this is where I really emphasize to everyone now, don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Today is guaranteed. You're here today. So start today. Don't wait for the next day.
These are wonderful messages, and especially it fights the toxic positivity we were mentioning earlier, right? Like there's sometimes it's easy to fall into the quotes, the platitudes, the cliches, but here you are saying that this is important, and whatever, and you're a man, right? It's time to man up and
Mhm.
tackle the issue. And no one said that it would be easy or instantaneous, but you're saying whatever problem is facing you, break it up into smaller pieces. That way you can tackle it, and identify the problem, figure out a strategy, and most importantly, what you're saying here is make time for this. And you can always find time to write that one more sentence of your book, one more page of your book. Set aside 10, 20 minutes, wake up 10 minutes earlier, or put off watching TV for a couple of days. Just find the time, whatever the current crisis is, to figure, you don't have to solve it, but just figure out the plan moving forward. And it will, you're saying, show you more of what you're made of, and prove to yourself that you can stand up and fight this. And so you've survived this, and you've moved from survival mode into this more intentional life. And the many years later, what's changed for you? What do you think is maybe the before and after picture for Mr. Carlos Perez?
Well, like I said before, we plan our life. Doesn't work the way it does. But after I first had my first transplant, I was cancer-free for 4.5 years. Then that cancer decided to come back in 2014. I had a relapse. I went right back into another transplanting, which was CAR T cell transplant. Now, then the 15 days in the hospital, where I'm thinking, why am I getting so tested? Why this? I mean, I was fine for 4.5 years. Now I'm back. And the second transplant was even stronger than the first one. And I had some fevers. And it was like a total different life, because I felt like I wanted to speak, but I couldn't speak. So at those moments, even trying to walk to go to the bathroom from my bed to the restroom was a challenge. So here again, I am into myself. What do I need to do to be different? And that second experience got me where it really says I need to be doing this more and getting out there and getting out my message more. Not to wait for it gets better. No, I need to go out there and continue. And I tell everyone what I do. If I see a patient, I let them know what I do. I go to any place I go to. I help this. I do this. I am I don't want to be called the inspirational speaker. I'd rather be called the rebuild architect, which feels better. I'm rebuilding, helping you rebuild your life.
Very good. And I know that you say that you're stronger than you think. And as in the spirit of rebuilding the lives of others, my understanding is that you help others both mentally and physically, right? You're a physical therapist, personal trainer type.
Yes. Well, I physical therapist for 40 years, and I treated many, many patients over these years. And, one morning I'm thinking, I could do coaching, but I'm like, wait a second, I've been a coach for freaking 40 years already. I've been telling people what to do, how to rebuild their life. So my life path has always been helping other people. I just never really realized it, because again, we're caught up into what we have to do with life. How I went from being a physical therapist to a speaker to helping and coaching other people. It's always been in me. It just took me getting cancer and thinking I'm going to die twice to really realize, to get me off that comfort zone and go out there and start touching more people's life and helping people in a different way than just being a physical therapist. I'm going to speak and give you my messages to help you get yourself from whatever issues you have, whether it's business or death in the family or whatever. You have the power in you to get out of this. Don't wait, like me, to have cancer twice. Don't. You don't need to. You just got to go out there and do it.
That is magical. What comes to mind is there's some story about like Leonardo or someone that like sculpted the statue of David, and it's like a block of marble, and he just like chipped away the outerness of the block of marble to create the statue, and it was already inside there. He just had to remove the blocks, remove what was holding him back. And it's a great message that we all have that strength within us to achieve what we know we should, but maybe we've been afraid, made excuses, said we don't have the time, etc. And sometimes it takes something really bad to happen to us for something good to happen. But you're saying we don't have to wait. And if there's that nagging feeling that I should go and get that college degree, or I should move and pursue that career, or I should stop doing this or pursue that relationship. But the time is now, right? We need to take some action and figure it out and make it happen. And so we've been jumping around all kinds of fascinating subjects, and it's been great hearing about you. But since you're the star of the show today, Mr. Carlos Perez, in these final minutes of our conversation, do you think there might be a missing question that I should be asking you? I just don't know to ask you.
Well, one question that a lot of people do ask is, I don't have the strength you have. They ask, how do I get that strength? And I'm like, you have it in you. There's no such thing as I have some internal or extra powers to be strong and be able to sit back, analyze what the problem is, and move forward. It's in all of us all the time. It's not, you don't have to wait. Like I said, the strength is in us. And I think, friends, we're little kids. We don't teach us that enough, that we should go out there and go out and get what we want. At one point they start holding us back. You're dreaming too big. That's, be realistic. You got to be this, you got to be that. But when we see a little baby, we're okay with a baby saying all kind of crazy things, or when you see kindergarten kids, what do you want to be? I want to be a teacher. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a pilot. And we all clap that. But at one point in our lives, we tend to, our parents or our family or whoever is around us says, oh, you got to be realistic. But what is realistic? Realistic is what you want me to be, not who I feel I should be. And I think that's what people need to really be themselves and be happy with what they have and the choices they make, not wait for something bad to happen for them.
Oh yeah, and there's that some kind of saying that like sometimes people give up on their own dreams, and instead of fixing themselves, they go and like bully you without realizing it, and then make you give up on your dreams because it makes them feel better. And it's sad that that happens in life, but if we can recognize it and say, hey, maybe I lost some of that spark in between like phase one of childhood and I can do anything, and then going to adolescence, young adulthood, and then you maybe got off a path a little bit and became discouraged. Well, there's still so much time, right? There's still years, decades of your life ahead of you. So it's time to get refocused back on track and rediscover those dreams that others intentionally or unintentionally talked you out of. It's time to get back on it. And so if someone says, man, this guy Carlos Perez, he's got a lot figured out, I'm really inspired by him, I want to know about his website, his book, his speaking, etc., what are some next steps? How can someone find out more about you?
They can go to my website, which is carlosperezspeaks.com. Or you could email me at carlos@carlosperezspeaks.com. You can reach me. I'm always available. If you find me, any questions, I'm willing to give out any answers that I may have. So I'm easy to access. They can find me on YouTube also as Carlos Perez Speaks. So I'm everywhere in the media, the social media world, as Carlos Perez Speaks. So that's one of the easiest ways to reach me.
Very good. So we said YouTube, Carlos Perez Speaks, carlosperezspeaks.com, and carlos@carlosperezspeaks.com. And the book is called Cancer and Me, A Journey of Survival and Triumph, My Struggle and Triumph Over Mantle Cell. And it's a compelling memoir, and Carlos shares his personal odyssey through the challenging landscape of cancer, offering you an intimate glimpse into his experiences, emotions, and the profound lessons learned along the way. And Mr. Carlos, he helps people rebuild emotional strength and purposeful direction after adversity. As we've been saying, he's a stage 4 mantle cell lymphoma survivor. He's a speaker, author, and resilience coach. But what he really wants to be known for is the architect of rebuild. And his work is grounded in lived experience and one guiding truth, which is that you are stronger than you think. So that hub to get to all the places is carlosperezspeaks.com. Before I let you go, Mr. Carlos, it's time for the scary part of the podcast where I ask about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
Interesting quote. Now, this is a hard one. Put me in the spot. I'm trying to think. There's so many great quotes. Um, hmm. I would say the only quote that could come to mind. I don't know who has said it, but I know it's out there. Don't wait for tomorrow what you call accomplished today.
I like it. Time is of the essence. The time is now. So
Yes,
don't wait for tomorrow. If you do that, tomorrow you might then want to wait for tomorrow, and that's can be really dangerous, right? That's how you lose years of your life, and then once you actually do that task, you think, well, I spent more time and energy procrastinating than I could have just actually done it. So don't wait for tomorrow. A great message, and especially don't wait for tomorrow to go to that website, Carlos Perez Speaks, or to check out that book, Cancer and Me, or even better, if you're looking for an excellent motivational speaker to speak at your event of any kind, don't hesitate. Contact him right now. That's Carlos at carlosperezspeaks.com. Get that conversation going. And it's been so wonderful and uplifting and inspiring speaking with you today, Mr. Carlos. Thanks for making the time and for being here. I'm very grateful for you.
I appreciate it. I really hope you have a powerful day today. And remember, you're stronger than you think. Always remember that every single day.